Welcome one, welcome all to the Great Lakes State. That's right, we're in the Irish Hills of southeastern Michigan at the Michigan International Speedway for more SSRL action. This is the first race of 2025 and it's coming at you live here tonight on Grid Vision. I'm Austin Edstrom standing alongside Sheldon Atkins, Joe LaCastro. He's actually got a microphone. It shows a little production booth. He's actually got a microphone. And Austin Derbyshire is going to be behind the production booth here tonight. That's right, we got three commentators here tonight for the first race of 2025 because we wanted to make sure that this race was absolutely perfect for you guys. We want to kick 2025 off right here for the Spartans Masters Series as we get the overhead view down on the Michigan International Speedway. Joe, what do you think about this 2-mile racetrack up in Michigan?
A 2-mile racetrack means a lot of long stretch racing, which is what I like to see. So I'm looking forward to it. Honestly, I love the SSRL racers, and I love seeing them take advantage of a track like this where track placement and maybe even a little bit of drafting comes into play.
Yeah, absolutely. Drafting's, you say might come into play. I can guarantee you it's going to come into play. It's going to be unbelievably prevalent here tonight at Michigan, especially with the next-gen car. We all know how draggy this race car is. Not a lot of horsepower, so you got to find a dancing partner, find a drafting partner, and work together around this place. But we're going to look at our championship standings right here real quick before we get into the race. Joseph Kazi, currently your points leader over Justin Levine, 22 points. Separate those two competitors, those two teammates. PB Henry and Chuck Van Schack are going to be lining up, are currently in third and fourth of the point standings, but those also teammates, and then Kyle Westwood rounding out the top five. Sheldon, what do you think about the rest here of the championship standings here?
I mean, honestly, looks pretty much where it was for the most part, where I left off a couple months ago. Kazi and Levine up there running away with it, and pretty tight though for the most part there in those first couple spots. Or the first
still all to play for. Still all to play for in the championship standings here on the Tuesday night version of the Spartans series, the Spartan Master Series here on Tuesdays. But as we see these guys kind of getting their last moments of warm-ups done. I'm actually not sure which of you did the keys to the race. I imagine it's Joe. So Joe, what are your keys to the race here tonight?
It wasn't me.
What?
Actually, it was the special guest.
Oh man.
Yes,
okay, Sheldon, what
yeah.
are your keys to the race then, bud?
Man, they gave me the keys to the nuclear launch codes here, but number one, most important thing when you come here to Michigan, you want to use the air to your advantage. You can do a lot of stuff to manipulate the cars around you. You can throw a side draft in, pull them back to you on the straightaway. You can make cars tight by getting certain parts of the bumper. You're going to be using that. You're going to see Levine using that a lot to his advantage tonight because I know he's a master at it. As well, you're going to be throwing dirty air on people, and you're going to be trying to draft as much as possible. Number two, when you come here to Michigan, the fuel supply and the laps, they don't always line up. So you want to save from the second they start the ignition on pit road all the way till the last lap. Try and get as much out of this car as you possibly can to get yourself into that window. And to round it all out, risk versus reward. 2-mile track is going to end up with a lot of pack racing, and you're going to have to think about every move you make before you make it because there's a strong probability that you're going to end up getting thrown 3 wide and getting put into a bad situation. And with the updates to the damage model here in the past couple months, it's really going to make a lot of guys' days a lot more difficult than expected.
You mentioned on that first key to the race, the side draft coming into play tonight, and I'm telling you guys, you're going to hear us say side draft. You're going to hear me say side suck because that's what I like to call it. You're going to see these guys get right up to the quarter panel of the car next to them, right? They're going to be trying to make the pass. They're going to absolutely dump as much air as possible onto the spoiler of that leading race car and just try to pull them back down the straightaways. And in the next gen car, man, it does an absolute lot, and it will definitely slow somebody down. But you can't get stuck side by side because if you get stuck side by side down these straightaways, it slows you both down. Either way, we're going to move into our broadcast picks real quick. Up first myself, I'm going with Kalen Mitchell driving the DeWalt colors here tonight. I think he's going to bring home his first checkered flag of the season.
I personally got to go with Joseph Kazi. Man, when we get him up in here for the interviews, it's some of the most exciting, entertaining couple minutes that we have on the show. And I feel like Michigan is a good track from what I've seen him do this year in NIS.
And once again, I'm going to pass the curse over to Kyle Westwood. I'm sure he's tired of me picking him by now, but he's always put on a great race to me. He's in 5th place in the points overall. I think he could do great things here with all these guys on the track. Let's see.
And, you know, we have those picks lined up down there, but honestly, this racetrack in the next gen has kind of turned into a Talladega Daytona-esque style of race, right? There's a lot of mayhem, a lot of drafting. There's very likely going to be a big one at some point that takes out a lot of the competitors So it's not quite to the level of a crapshoot, but it's kind of close to where there's a little bit of luck involved. It's a little bit of a lottery, but you still got to keep yourself up to the front of the field, keep yourself out of trouble, and put yourself into position to win this thing by the end of the night. But it looks like the warm-up is all done and dusted, and we are starting to get the grid ready here on pit road. So we're going to run through our starting lineup, and it looks like Johan Seminario is up on the pole once again, running a 38.207 in that Team Conti number 56. Chris Hudson going to be starting on the outside of him on the front row, trying to get his first win of the season tonight. Sammy Harrell going to be starting in the third place position with Dave Fuge Jr. on the outside in fourth. Edward Schur Jr. is going to be starting in fifth place with David Salter on the outside of row number 3. Row number 4 is going to have Chad Kibbe and Reese Schaefer in the number 97. And then rounding out the top 10 here tonight is going to be Mark Sanchez and Todd Parent.
Moving into the 11th place, that's Kalen Mitchell on the inside, Kevin Zosiak on the outside. Drew Prohl, winner of last night's race in the SSRL Truck Series, on the 13th position. 14th is Charles Manchak. 15th is going to be Kyle Gerlach. 16th, Cody Atkins. 17th is Kyle Westwood. 18th is Justin Levine. 19th is Jordan Sailors. And 20th is Corey Saucier.
And in 21st, we got Chris Vinson with Jeffrey Sousa at his outside in 22nd. 23rd is going to be my pick, Joseph Causey, followed by Scott Schroeder in 24th. 25th, going to go to PB Henry with Art Nicotera in 26th. 27th is going to be Evan Ethel, followed by Chuck Burley in 28th. And then rounding out your top 30 is going to be Lou Christian and William Lark.
31st is going to be Jose Medina with Jake Hickson starting on his outside in 32nd. Tom Ringer is going to be starting in the 33rd place spot with Chad Gunningsman making his return in the 34th place spot. Did not lay down a qualifying lap time. He was the first one not to lay down a qualifying lap time. 35th was Christopher Hall. 36, Charles Abbott, and rounding out the 37 car field here tonight from Michigan is going to be Colton Gardner. So pretty hefty field here. 37 cars, not quite a full field, but Spartan consistently showing up with 35 plus cars week in, week out. Consistently is one of my favorite series to call. And I got to imagine at a racetrack like this, at Michigan, with the huge runs that we get off these corners and down the straightaways, it's going to be an absolute barn burner here tonight. I got to think it's going to be one of our best races of the season.
I'm really excited for this race, actually. The more cars, more fun, I say. And I think that having a nearly full field, like you said, is going to make tonight's race all that more exciting. No one hopes for the big one. I like the long stretches of green flag racing like anybody else, but anybody who's watching tonight who's looking for an exciting race, you're definitely in the right spot.
Absolutely. I mean, just about nothing wrong with this racetrack for the A-car from a broadcaster's point of view, from a TV watcher's point of view. Now, if you get down into the race car behind the wheel, if I get behind the wheel, I put on the helmet, I start getting really pissed off. I get really, really frustrated at a place like this because you have to drive a very specific way. You almost want to be closer to the wall down the straightaways because you know that that's where the line is going to be with a long train of cars, and you know you want the draft. So going out to the bottom is a big risk, especially later on the run. So we got to see how the different lanes maneuver, which one ends up actually being the best. But I got to say, down the straightaways, the outside line, especially the back straightaway, I got to think the outside line is going to prevail, and we're going to see a lot of freight trains where somebody tries to make a move down to the inside coming off of turn number 2, but all of a sudden they get freight trained by 3, 4, 5 cars that are in a tandem on the outside.
You also got to factor in, too, this is Michigan, man. These cars, they're set up, the way these guys run them, this track was not designed to be ran. It was not designed to be a plate track. It was designed to be, just a typical speedway. And you've got all these guys stuffed up in this dirty air, nose to tail, lap after lap. Somebody's going to have a little bit too much wedge cranked in that thing. It's going to come around on them at some point, and that's going to be a huge determining factor for a lot of these guys tonight.
Not a lot of right rear to hang on to in these next gen cars either. So if you do get that right rear stepped out, you know that you're just about guaranteed to lose it. To be honest, we know that the right rear is a little sensitive in these next gen cars if you ride it a little bit too hard. Now we have run 1 2-mile track this season already at Auto Club. More tire wear there, so I expect a closer bunched up field than we had at that race, but that one was a great one, even though the field wasn't super bunched up the entire time. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this one ends up getting kicked off and ultimately how it finishes a little bit later tonight. But we're coming down to the green flag for the first time tonight. Johan Seminario and Chris Hudson leading us down to the Geico restart zone, and the green flag is flying, and we're racing in Irish Hills. Johan out to the easy lead down into turn number 1, already side by side for P2. Chris Hudson didn't get a great jump, and that's going to let Sammy Harrell get down to the inside, already straddling that first seam down there on the inside, but he's not going to get clear before they come off of turn number 2. And like I said, he very well could get freight trained. Schurer is going to get to the back bumper of Hudson here and push him down the back straightaway, and Sammy Harrell has absolutely no help. He can just hang on, almost contact between 3rd and 4th, coming down into turn 3.
Just about already. Just about already, almost tapering into 3 wide there into turns 3 and 4. Yeah, you saw right there coming out of turns 1, 2, what I was alluding to in the pre-race, huge slide out of a couple of cars up there in the top 3. And that's just going to get worse and worse as the tires go on, but they're still side-by-side battling here for the 3rd position. Harold to the inside of, I believe that is 45 machine. That's Ed Scherer Jr. And back to you, Austin.
Coming down into turn number 3, Johan still has that race lead. He's going to run all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack. And you see Chris Hudson. You mentioned the air in the keys of the race. Eventually has to get into the dirty air. But on the entry, you saw Chris Hudson went just a lane up, making sure that he could get the clean air on the nose, keep the rotation of that race car as good as it could possibly be through the middle of the corner. And then on the exit, well, you just know the guy's going to drift in front of you. Hopefully you've got your turning done by that point. This time through 1 and 2, though, Hudson right in the tire tracks and a little bit of contact behind as Sammy Harrell gets into the side there of Edward Schroeder Jr. and a little bit of scattering a little further back in the pack. Joe, a lot of action already.
Absolutely. You see we got 2x2, but then further back we have a 3 wide situation. Is that Joseph Causey on the inside, and then the 18 machine of Corey Saucier. He's going to fall back a little bit, might end up in the top lane after this, but that 3 wide situation is going to resolve. And I can't tell you how many 2 wides we've had. 3 wides look like they're coming up. The guys in the middle are fighting just as hard as the guys in the front right now.
And it's been quiet for the race lead so far, but everywhere behind has been tight, and there's contact through turns 1 and 2. It's going to be 3 wide as they come through the corner. They're eventually going to get it settled out as Levine's going to pick up a couple spots down on the bottom. Oh, almost a turn coming out of turn number 2. Kalen throws a block, able to hang on to the spot, but now he's going to be side by side coming down to 3. Talk about that yellow DeWalt car a little bit further back as the 97 of Reese Schaefer just trying to gather it up after that bit of contact that he suffered in turn 2, Sheldon.
Everything looking clean up here at the point right now, though. Johan Seminario leading Hudson across the line here for lap number 5. Everybody single filing out here by the front, but it's still on a little bit further in the back of the pack. And right now you got to think that these guys are starting to get into that, fuel-saving mode early to try and make the most out of it. As you see, everybody's kind of just tapering off and falling back into position as you see Levine working the outside of the 22 machine, Joe.
Ooh, quick whip there. Did you see that? It looks like there wasn't any contact, but someone trying to hold on to the wheel as they come through. Who was that? I didn't quite get it. I think it was a 22 of Dave Fuge Jr. He's back in control on the inside. Up front, though, it looks like...
hip check into the fence!
Wall hard.
Oh, Fuge. There's a little bit of netcode contact there, but Fuge got into the side. I can't quite tell who it was, but one car tumbling through the running order. Tumbling backwards, that red and white car. Still cannot quite get the name.
79.
Trying to find... 79. That's Chad Gunningsman. No, that's not the 79.
Oh, I was off. Was it the 92?
It's Salter. It was David Salter. Excuse us on that one. David Salter is the one with the huge damage. Honestly, he's got heavy left front, heavy right front damage. He's going to need a caution to get that entire thing fixed. There's no chance he's going to be anything but slow here the rest of the night if he continues with that damage.
Yeah, that was heavy contact with the outside too. You know that the steering is probably knocked out a little bit with that too, as you see him kind of struggling with that car through the corner since he got that hit. There it is. Right front, you see the suspension, the tire itself pushed in a little bit. How bad do you think that's going to affect him here tonight, Austin?
Big time. Are you kidding me? At a racetrack like Michigan, with the aero that you have to have at a place like this going 200 miles an hour, if you have any damage to the front end of your race car, you're going to be dead in the freaking water. So good luck to David Salter if he cannot get that thing fixed. It's frustrating for him because he was doing everything he could do on the top side of the racetrack. Oh, Huge cuts off the nose of another one. Huge aggressive early.
Yeah, Fuge really looks like he's struggling with that thing too. The car, he's just dropping like a rock here. Does not look like that machine's handling too well in the dirty air as he slowly works his way back through the pack, right up on that outside line now.
Oh, we need to go back up to the front. We need to go back up to the front because somebody that has started 18th is on the outside for second place. Justin Levine started mid-pack and he's on the back bumper of his teammate for the race lead as we come down to 3.
Oh,
Oh, the
contact.
Chris Hudson
That's
gets into
it.
the back bumper of him, coming down to 3. Levine's still trying to save it. You can see him twitching, coming off the corner. Now he's going to be side by side again. Oh, stuck on the bottom. Hudson gives him the bumper down the straightaway, but Sammy Harrell's trying to take advantage on the outside.
Hudson with a big push. He's still trying to use that inside line and take advantage of the guy that he's got in front of him. You're right, 15 places up, and he's still got places to go, but he needs that push right now from Chris Hudson. Without it, he's not going to have the momentum to outpush Sam Harrell on the outside.
Yeah, Levine absolutely needing to get that outside line cleared up so he can start making a fight to the rear end of the 56 of Johan Seminario. But currently, the 42 of Harrell is doing a great job of holding up that outside lane, making it difficult for Levine to get by. You'll get
Still
close
side
coming
by
out
side
turn
for
number
second.
4.
Nearly contact for second, nearly contact for fourth. But you can kind of see that we've broken into 2 separate packs. You can kind of see the guys that are gunning for the lead here early on, and the guys that are kind of saving tires a little bit further back. Maybe some strategy being played in this thing, but we're just about 3 wide for the lead. Instead, it's going to cycle out to 2, coming off of turn number 2, and Levine from 18th to 1st in only a handful of laps, 10 laps on the board, and Levine has shot himself all the way up to the race lead.
What a drive. Just an incredible drive from Justin Levine, considering that we've had contact, we've had a lot of traffic that he had to get through all the way through 17 cars, including himself, 16 cars to get to the front of this list, and now he's up there holding him back. Samuel Harrell comes down, not quite able to get the inside line. The 56 of Johan Seminario just not giving up. He's still there.
See Harrell working that outside line, knowing that he's been defeated here. 3 wide for 3rd place right now, coming out turn number 2. Does everybody keep it on? Oh, we got round 2 around on the back straightaway. Does not look like he's going to bring a caution, though, to get him straightened back out somehow. And back up to the track here, coming into turn number 3. That could have been huge.
Big contact out of turn number 2. Somehow, both of those drivers able to hang on. I don't know how in the world Chris Hudson and Drew Prohl were able to hang on to those race cars, because I thought for sure they were dead in the water, but luckily they're still in this thing. They're able to stay in it. Now, they did lose a good chunk of time to the race leaders, now 2-3 seconds off of the race lead instead of just on the back bumper of your leaders. But hey, they're still in the race. I'd consider that a minor victory.
Yeah, very much so.
Again.
Yeah. Oh, again!
No, it's the replay. It's the replay,
that's
Joe.
the replay.
Oh, that scared the S out of me. Oh my goodness gracious.
This is Grid Vision on YouTube. You can say shit.
Okay.
That big orange, that big orange box up there on the top right, that means replay.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that is amazing, because I
we need
thought one
a
of
bigger
them.
cutaway.
I had to be fair, I had the broadcast down.
It was 3 wide down the front straightaway there for a moment, battling for the 4th place spot. Ed Schur Jr. getting by this trio of race cars, still side by side for 4th place. Chad Kibbe, Reese Schaefer, those two going at it down the back straightaway. Sammy Harrell still in the fight as well. Oh, Chris Hudson and Chad Gunningsman now getting into it. Hudson cannot get away from the contact. That's the 3rd time I've seen him and another car come together.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta figure too at the same time, though, he's probably driving pretty hot under the helmet right now after the contact earlier, and just absolutely getting defeated and losing a handful of spots there. Nope, look at that. You see the smoke rolling out? He's pissed.
That's the sign right there.
Side by side for the lead coming down to turn 1. Levine and Johan have been going at it. Johan not willing to go away. Levine came from 18th to 1st. You got to think that he might have burned up those tires ever so slightly, getting that track position. Johan started in the lead, just kept the same pace the entire time. You got to think he might have a little bit better tire now, and he's trying to put that to use down on the inside of Justin Levine, coming down to turn number 3.
And viewers at home there, you see that little twitch that Johan in the 56 machine down there in the bottom pulled coming into turn number 3. That is the side drive we were talking about, trying to get air packed to the rear spoiler of Levine as they come side by side, almost dead even at the line here. Levine's going to lead lap 14. Still a dead heat down at turn number 1.
Without anybody behind either of them, it's just going to be a straight race to see who's going to outdrive who here. But it looks like Levine's pulled into first now, and Seminario's going to fall into place. Maybe let him burn up his tires a little bit.
A little bit further back, still racing outside of the top 10. A lot of 2 wide. Gunningsman losing a couple positions after his issue with Chris Hudson, but these guys in the middle of the 10th to 20th range. Oh, Gunningsman down on the inside, almost loses the race car. He's going to come back, get back on the track, not take anybody out with him, but unfortunately, that's going to lose the draft of this pack in front of him. I got to think that that was a big wiggle out of turn number 4. The straightaway is just way too long. Not able to get his momentum up enough in these neutered down next-gen vehicles that we have here on iRacing.
Looks like there might be just a little bit of contact now. Yeah, again.
Sorry, 43.
43. Yeah, Chris Hudson again. Just like a magnet in these situations, unfortunately, tonight. Something's in the metal of the car. That shiny paint job is just pulling the other cars into him. Yeah, that's fair. That is one of the 4. I've read it.
It's got to be. That's the only thing I can think of, because he is loving all over everybody tonight.
It's really been a beautiful thing to witness.
Side by side again for the race lead. The 2 teammates going at it. Johan tried to get down to the inside again. Had to lift at the very beginning of the corner. Thought he was going to get cleared coming down in. Oh, he almost twitches up into his teammate coming out of turn number 2. Tries to keep the side draft, but Levine's going to clear him once again. Almost a battle for third happening, but Ed's going to be able to prevail in that battle. If they can get linked together, maybe they can catch up to these 2 teammates fighting each other for the race lead.
Further and back, a little bit of 3 wide racing here with the 33 machine stuck in the middle. You see Hudson up there on the outside line, and a big slide out of the car on the bottom. Still somehow able to keep the momentum, though.
Chris Vincent still hanging out there in the middle. Not sure where he's going to be able to go from here, aside from riding. Who's that on the inside line there? The 96. That's Jeffrey Souza. But working together, it looks like the 2 of them have gotten into a 2-wide situation, and just a little bit ahead of the pack behind them. Got another 2-wide up here. This has been some crazy racing.
Oh, contact.
Oh, man, Kalen getting run way up the racetrack. Kevin Zosiak just about putting my race pick in the wall. That's my race winning pick. He's trying to shove into the fence there coming off at turn number 4. Zosiak getting the elbows out.
That almost looked like a receipt maybe for the earlier contact. There was a bit of touch and go, and then a little bit of get out of my way.
Yeah, I'd say, 1 time, that's a mistake. 2 times, kind of dodgy. 3rd time, you're intentional at that point. And there was a lot of lean in there through 3 and 4, but it works out in Zosiak's favor. Oh, yeah, there must have been something beforehand.
They very well could have had some contact beforehand. Zosiak wasn't too happy about it, so we can't harp on him too bad. But either way, Sammy Harrell finding the fits hard out of turn number 4 from the 6th place spot. He's going to lose a ton of time on your race leaders. Might get passed as well by Joseph Kazi, who's coming through the field as well. We haven't talked too much about Kazi yet, but he's starting to find his way to the front.
Another guy holding on to the front. Oh, sorry, go on there.
I was going to say, how many spots has Kazi come through the field so far, too? Up there in the 6th position now, working his way, trying to get up to 5th. Been a good run for him as you see him side by side on the back straightaway with Kibbe. I'm sorry, not Kibbe.
Side by side again, Harrell. Man. Johan just cannot get this move done. He's done this time and time again, but Levine has just put it down on his door every time that Johan goes down to the bottom. And by the time you get on the straightaway, there's just not much Johan can do, right? Levine's got the better run out of the corner. Johan might be able to side draft, but he just hasn't had the help to get anything done. And I thought maybe Ed would help him out and give him a shove by, but instead, Schur's going to go all the way up to the wall through 1 and 2. Try a lane that we have not seen tonight, and, well, that did not work out.
No. Unfortunately, I don't know if it was intentional or not. Look at this run, though, he's got. Yeah.
He kind of got side drafted. Oh, yellow flag out. Spinner coming down to turn number 3, down to the inside wall. Couldn't quite tell who it is.
No,
Kevin
15.
Zosiak. Oh, could that be Kalen Mitchell? Could that be Kalen Mitchell?
That's Kevin Zosiak there in the 15.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
I can tell you it was Kalen Mitchell.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, we saw that 15, wrecking the dog food out of that 15 for a little bit there in 3 and 4. I was waiting to see these 2 get back together.
This was
Let's see it.
Maybe a side suck gone wrong, maybe some revenge. I don't know.
Well, I think that was net code, man. Hard to tell.
Okay, you might be a Kalen Mitchell homer a little bit on that one. I don't know. We need a head-on view of their noses to see exactly whether Kalen came up the racetrack or Kevin came down beforehand. Not quite sure from this camera angle. Maybe here we can get a better look. Kalen came. That was too tight of a side.
No, can we blimp it? Can we blimp it a little bit? We don't have a chopper. Oh, Grid Vision, please donate to Grid Vision because we can't afford a chopper.
They don't have choppers in Michigan? No helicopter cameras allowed in Michigan, apparently, so that's kind of sad.
That's the way she goes, though, isn't it? It's always the permits.
Can't have anything around here.
Either way, the just about the entire field, it looks like, is coming down pit road to take their first set of tires. Well, we could see a lot of these guys just taking fuel only. We've seen a lot of guys time and time again this year try to save a set of tires early on. So we're going to have to wait to see what happens under this pit stop break as we get another look at Zodiac and Kalen Mitchell down the back straightaway. You can see Mitchell's just coming up, and eventually he stops, but I just feel like, you know, the rear end of this car is a little wider than the door. He moved up to the door while he was still side by side with Zodiac at the door, his nose at his door, I should say, and still continued to fall backwards. And whenever he did that, the jutted out edge of the quarter panel over the rear tire caught the right front tire of Kalen Mitchell and unfortunately sent Zodiac around. Was there still some intention in it? I don't know. But it's interesting we saw those guys come together beforehand. Either way, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break. When we come back, we're going to take it to the end of stage number 1.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Makoni.
With the launch of Makoni Entertainment and Makoni Competizone alongside Makoni Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MakoniSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game.
Welcome back to the Spartans Masters Series live from the Michigan International Speedway. We're just wrapping up yellow flag number 1 here tonight. Justin Levine, still your race leader. Saw the pit stops cycle out. Now we're going to have to wait and see who took the tires, who didn't take the tires. Is anybody going to be a big mover through the field as we come up to the second half of stage number 1? The end of the stage will be lap number 50 as Justin Levine is leading us down to the green flag for his first time tonight. Green flag's flying, and we're racing once again. Levine gets a pretty good jump, and he's got 2 teammates lined up right behind him. Got to think that he gave him a countdown because Johan is right on his bumper coming down the front straightaway, and he gets cleared for second.
Line appears to be forming here on the outside, though. The 33 of Chris Vincent. He's up 17 places. A very hard charger, along with Joseph Causey, who has snuck his way off the pits straight into the 3rd place position. He's up 20 places. They're lining up a little bit here towards the front, but we still got some 2 wide situations a little further back. Things are still resolving here as we get things started for stage 2, or the end of stage 1.
Came from pretty far back in the pack. Pretty sure he took either no tires or 2. But right now, everything's single file up here at the front. As you see, these guys kind of running with it, setting the pace, all these teammates up here.
Yep, single file through the front 6. Currently, the first side-by-side battle is for that 7th place position between Chris Hudson and PB Henry. But even further back, 2 wide, even 3 wide. Chris Hudson a little bit wide through 1 and 2. A little bit further back, we see the 4 car down on the inside, losing a spot coming off of turn number 2. Chuck Burley giving up that place to Jose Medina down the back straightaway. We're coming down to turn number 3 before trying to get ahead of steam to get back. Excuse me, Medina actually a little bit further ahead in a side-by-side battle down to 3. He goes a little bit wide and just gives it. I believe that's Jake Hickson down at the bottom that took that from him.
Right now we see Drew Kroll in the 8 machine giving the push to Chris Hudson.
Pretty calm here. You see Genningsman working the inside of the 29 machine coming out turn 2. That's Sanchez up there on the outside of the 29. Genningsman going to fall back in line behind him. They'll try to push him up to that lead pack of cars. But here we go. Chris Kibbe up to the outside now of Justin Levine. This is Chad Kibbe up here, battle for the lead, shaping up. But no help. Going to be really difficult for him to be able to get anything from Levine here.
Here comes PB Henry to the back bumper. Huge shot down the front straightaway. He's going to try to help Chad Kibbe out, but Johan's going to throw the block coming down to turn number 1 and get back down in front of his teammate. Oh, it's a late block there from the 56. Almost gets turned by Joseph Kazi, which would not surprise me at all. We've seen them come together time and time again this year. But Kibbe to the outside of Justin Levine for the race lead. He's got the help, too. PB Henry giving him a huge shove.
Wow. PB Henry going to push Kibbe to the lead here, but here comes PB Henry diving down to the bottom, leaving out to drive him to turn number 3. PB Henry wants to get up here and take a shot at the lead. And he's going to get him with a huge slide job, up 24 spots from where he started. And PB Henry's going to lead him to the line here to finish lap 29.
What an impressive run over half. The race isn't even halfway done, but he moved up through half the pack. And now out in front, leading Chad Kibbe. The race changed from an inside line race to an outside line race within almost just 1 lap. And now we're seeing the results of that as the top 5 or 6 cars are lining things up and getting ready to come on down through lap 29.
Coming down into turn number 3, PB Henry, your race leader for the first time tonight. What a move it was just the last time by that he put on Chad Kibbe. Now coming off of turn number 4, Kibbe trying to get the run off of the corner and stay in that slipstream. These guys trying to just pull away from the guys that have honestly dominated the season. The guys running 3rd, 4th, 5th have won just about every race this year. You got to think PB Henry and Chad Kibbe just want to get their name on the score sheet.
Joseph Kazi running the middle line with the 97 machine directly behind him. There's a little bit 3-wide action, a little bit further here in the back. Not too far in the back, though. That's a battle for 5th going on right now. But he's slowly starting to single file their way out here, though. So,
a little bit, but there still is a hint of an inside line there that is just switching back and forth. We'll see which one is the one that ultimately prevails, but no one seems to have made a decision. So we see a lot of cars that are going back and forth, moving a little bit defensively maybe, but it's preventing anyone from really making more of a move, and I think they're going to get in line. We'll see.
Great. Right here, this is the final spot for points here. This is the battle for 9th and 10th. You got Art Nicotera diving down to the bottom of the 33 machine of Vincent. Vincent trying to hang tight, trying to get a little bit of points here for the stage, but doesn't look like he's going to be able to with those older tires. Nicotera is going to pull away from him here in 3 and 4. And Vincent is just falling backwards still. And, oh, huge. I can't tell. Was that a wreck that almost happened, or we just fan out there? Because that looked dicey for a second when we switched
Maybe
over.
a little bit of both. Maybe a little bit of both. Coming down to turn 1, able to get it sorted out before we get down here. Now single file all throughout the top 8. Everybody in this main pack. You can kind of tell who took tires and who didn't, right? We got a pretty big gap in between 8th and 9th. Or sorry, I should say 9th and 10th. That's a pretty massive gap after only a handful of laps. 3 seconds between those 2 positions.
There's a couple more laps left for the stage. PB Henry still leading this thing with Kibbe right to his bumper. A little bit further back in the pack, though, we're watching a 3-wide battle. Shake up here. A little bit of a pinch here on the front straightaway. Here we are looking at PB Henry leading this field down the back straightaway, all single file for the first 8 spots. You got to be wondering now, when is somebody going to make a move? When's Levine going to stick the nose out and try to make a charge here to get this stage win? He knows he's got teammates behind him that can push him to it. He's just got to get the timing right so he doesn't get himself hung out here.
Henry, Kibbe, Levine at the line, working now, lap number 34. 17 laps to go in stage number 1. Which out of these top 8 is it going to be to bring home the stage 1 victory? Right now, PB Henry is looking like the man to beat, gotten himself up to the front of this pack, and he has not relinquished that lead since he took it. The thing is, Kibbe's never really gotten a push. He hasn't gotten any heavy help from Levine. I know Levine was just drafting him the last time, but they just weren't close enough, right? If They're close enough. Will Levine help? Well, there's the answer. He's going to dive down to the inside of turn number 3. Try to get side by side with Kibbe coming off of turn 4, pushing him up all the way towards the wall. Levine's going to have the side draft, and he's got 2, 3, 4 teammates lined up behind him coming down the front straightaway. Kibbe's got no help.
Levine help. He'd wreck his own girlfriend for a win.
Oh,
we know
the
that,
yellow
man.
flag's
Caution.
out. Further back in the pack, not quite sure where it is. Oh, the 55 on the front straightaway. Jordan Sailors facing the wrong direction. A little deep down the front straightaway. You would think maybe we would have it out of 4, but he's just about at the start-finish line. Coming out of 4, yeah, loose.
Ooh.
Comes down to 6,
Oh,
really
no.
just had nowhere to go. Unfortunately for the 6, he spins down pit road. Might get a speeding penalty with that, but honestly, no harm, no foul. That's pretty minor contact, all things considered.
Honestly, that went way better for the 6 machine than I thought it was going to. That looked like it was about to shape up to be one of those classic Michigan pit road wrecks that we see so often here.
Mark Martin-esque. Not quite, though.
Here is the view from the 6 machine right now. This is Corey Adkins.
No relation.
He kind of hit that curbing. Kind of weird to have a sidewalk on pit road. I don't really know why Michigan does that, but that might have actually hurt Atkins' car a little bit.
Let's see if there's any collision or anything with him on that.
Why do we have a sidewalk on pit road here?
Quit asking questions.
Like, what?
Don't you just feel like going for a walk after getting out of the car?
I mean, if they put a fence down there, I'd love to stand in between the 2 fences during the race, but I guarantee you they'll never let that happen.
No. They don't want us to have anything nice.
That's a fact. We talk time and time again about the playoff system. Nothing
No.
nice. Still 15 laps remaining in the stage. This time by it'll be 14. As Justin Levine is your race leader, he was able to take the lead right before that caution flag came out. So he's going to be able to control this restart, and he's going to have a teammate on his back bumper, and that teammate's going to have a teammate on his back bumper, and that teammate is going to have a teammate on his back bumper. So I think Levine's in a pretty good spot here for the end of the stage.
But I still wish that there was just like a secret button that the race host could just push that turns the pace truck or the pace car into a solid entity, because that would just be hilarious.
You know, I took
that
a break
might
from
be.
iRacing and came back, and nobody told me that they gave the cone physics, and
Yeah.
collision physics, and I definitely destroyed one of my races hitting that cone.
Yeah, I was under caution at Indy in the Gen 4 a couple months ago, and I was running like top 3. And I was like, oh, cool, I'm just going to hit these cones, because that's what you do when you go to Indy. You just, kill about 50 cones every time. Yeah, the hood popped up on me.
Oh.
I'd be so upset. Oh, man. Nobody here looking like they're going to go down there and meet that pit exit cone. I think everybody's probably learned their lesson by this point.
I'll probably go and try it again at some point later on this week.
Honestly, I gotta say, so far a surprisingly mild race. I expected a little bit more. Now we've seen some tire strategy, some people taking tires, some people not. We've seen this race kind of break into 2 separate packs on 2 separate occasions. It's been a strange start to this one.
I think that everybody knows the bigger prizes at the end, and I think that they're all just trying to kind of keep a little bit, in the bank with that fuel window.
And watching that and knowing that the action at the front has still been extremely heated. We've seen a few different leaders of the race in the first 36 laps, and even though we saw some people who are very close to leading the race who have fallen back because of situations like Joseph Causey, the front of the race has not been complacent in any way, and it's been still a weird, like you said, that sort of the sort of steadiness has been sort of throughout the entire thing.
Like Sheldon said, though, I definitely feel like we're seeing them kind of take it relatively easy. At least most of the pack taking it easy. Like you said, Joe, the front of the field has been, racing pretty hard. PB Henry with that huge dive bomb down to the inside. Levine's been making some moves, but I feel like everybody about 9th on back is just kind of taking it upon themselves to take it easy, make sure that they have a race car at the end. The guys up front, though, especially at the end of the stage, I feel like they're going to be running just as hard as they would be as if it was for the race win at the end of the day. So I got to imagine we're going to have some pretty hard racing up in the top 8 coming to the green checkered.
Absolutely. Based on what we've seen so far, for sure.
I say put another 60 laps on the board, then we can sit here and talk about how calm and complacent this racing has been.
That's fair. That's fair.
You-
You know, maybe,
you-
maybe we're judging it a little bit too quick. It's been calm so far. It has been calm so far.
It's true.
Yeah, compared to
way.
what we saw in A Open and NIS this year, this is probably the calmest Michigan race I've seen since 2018.
Exactly.
No,
That's kind of what I was basing it off of. Every time I see an A Open race at this racetrack, it's just mental. But we have maybe we've got some smarter drivers in here than we normally have for our Michigan races. But we're coming up to the green flag once again, hopefully to finish stage number 1 this time. It'll be 12 laps to go in the stage. Levine through the restart zone and back to the green flag, and he's going to be taking the lead easily. And it looks like his 2 teammates are going to follow him through.
Levine with a huge launch down into turn number 1. All those teammates in line getting them a good start. Single file for the top 3. They're almost 3 wide for 4th position right now. As you see Schaefer trying to dive it down to the bottom, get a run on PB Henry, going to think better of it, fall back in line, go to the outside line, and try to tuck up to the back of the 23 machine of Kibbe.
Kibbe in there, a man by himself right now, kind of hanging out in the middle. Oh no, that's not Kibbe. I'm thinking about Chad Genningsman there. So it doesn't want to get swallowed up.
Look at Chad. He was way mired back in traffic earlier in this race. Got himself up into the top 5 position here at the end. The consistency, whether it's the truck series or the cup cars, man, Chad, it's limitless with him. Every race that I feel like we call him, he's up in the top 5, but a little bit of contact with the 23 machine. But no
Chad
harm, no
against
foul.
Chad.
Yeah, Kibbe got tight on that one and just about destroyed Gunningsman, but both those Chads able to hang on to it. I feel like I'm calling a frat bro race or something, but Gunningsman able to stay up in the top 5 in the 4th place spot. PB Henry just behind him, finding a hole right in front of Reese Schaefer. Reese trying to get back down to the inside, down the front straightaway, but PB Henry throwing block after block, and finally Reese now with a bit of a tandem up on the top side of the racetrack, but it's just not going to be enough coming down to turn number 1. Not able to take 5th away from PB Henry.
Down to the bottom of the track into 1 and 2. Not able to make it stick, though. PB Henry going to pull away. Schaefer's going to fall back just a little bit. Wait to get that push from the cars behind him. And he should be right back there to the bumper here into turn number 3.
When they separate down there and Reese Schaefer goes down to the inside line, that's going to put him side by side with Chad Genningsman for a little bit here. Genningsman on the outside getting a little bit of help from PB Henry, but Henry's going to fall back, maybe put it 3 wide. Nope, not quite. Schaefer back up to the outside. He's trying to keep his position, but he moves from the outside back down to the in, and it looks like it's been paying off for him. He's been holding on to that spot for a little while now. So let's see if it's possible for somebody. There's a lot of shuffling going on behind him. Let's see if somebody can get around him.
Well, PB Henry able to get around Gunningsman there, getting a hole on the outside, and now getting himself into the top 5. Chad had been doing good getting himself up here, but now losing ground ever so slightly. Got to think he's got. Oh no! PB Henry gets into the side of Reese Schaefer. Reese Schaefer goes around off of turn number 4. Ed Scher Jr. involved. All 3 of them go skating through the grass. I don't think anybody's collecting the fence. Nobody's collecting any other cars, but Reese Schaefer definitely has some damage on that left front fender.
Wow. Yeah, PB Henry got into him really solidly here. We're going to see it again here on the Grid Vision replay.
Slides up the track. Classic Michigan. Not enough room there.
It just took off on him. There was like, it almost looked like there was a little twitch out of PB, or maybe he just slammed the throttle and the front end took off on him. We're going to need to get one more look just to see exactly what happened to PB Henry. But that car just took off on him coming out of turn number 4 and went straight up the racetrack.
Yeah, here we go. The steering wheel's going to tell the story here. You see Henry down there in the bottom. I think he just caught that transition on that seam a little weird while he was getting to the throttle, and it slid him up the track. And by the time he got up there, he couldn't keep it out of the 97 machine.
Yeah, I don't know if Reese was holding him a little tighter than maybe he should have off of 4, but like you said, once he transitioned across the seam, and there's different banking behind, between the bottom lane and the top lane, you can kind of see the car move ever so slightly sideways as he kind of climbed the banking. It just seemed like it got the car tight, which is really weird. Typically, whenever I go from a lower bank surface to a higher bank surface, I get a little loose. I'm thinking of, coming off a turn 4 at Homestead. You come up from the bottom and you cross the progressive banking coming up off the racetrack, and the car starts to get loose. But that time, it kind of looked like it got tight on people.
I think it's just that he got down there to the bottom, was in a compromised aero position with the car to his top, and a couple cars in front of him, And you combine that with the fact that it's not like Homestead where it's like a gradual banking change, right? Like here, it's kind of like New Hampshire, where it's kind of flat, then you just kind of have a massive fall off into the banking. Like it gets pretty darty, and in my experience here at Michigan, it's the car doesn't know if it wants to be tight or loose when you make that transition. It just
Talk
depends
about
on.
banking at New Hampshire.
Yeah, there's a little bit. There's a little bit, but you got the variable at New Hampshire where it's like absolutely flat, and we talked about it last night with the second seams where they actually put like 7 degrees of banking in it, but the bottom is 2 degrees.
That's fair. That's fair. I'll give you that. It's just so minimal. It's so minimal at New Hampshire. It's just like, is there even banking at that racetrack?
I don't know. It's not really much more here in Michigan though either. It looks nice on camera, but it doesn't feel like there's really much of anything to lean on here. Aside from the actual grip of the asphalt itself, with the resurface that this place got in 2014.
Yeah, a little grippier than the older version. I ran the older version a couple weeks ago, and it definitely has a whole heck of a lot less grip than this version of it, especially running the next gen car. I mean, I just feel like you have grip for days, especially on new tires. I mean, it's ridiculous how fast you can run around this place, how you can keep that gas pedal just about pinned to the floorboard all the way around, as long as you don't have that dirty air messing with you in front. But it looks like the field is doubling up coming to the start-finish line here this time, so we're going to have 1 to green this time by, and I got to think that this time this will be the end of stage number 1. It'll be 5 laps to go whenever we take the green flag.
And we mentioned it earlier, with 5 laps to go, these guys up front are going to race like it's the end of the race. So I'm excited to see Justin Levine, Seminario. I'm excited to see these guys who have been really just dueling throughout the front of this race so far continue that action and see if it does come to a head.
One thing that I expect is Levine to go for that outside line once he gets clear of Johan Seminario and just do what he does best everywhere we go. Oh, you see a little bit of friendly contact between the two teammates up here.
Pushing each other around.
We typically see this under green between Levine, Seminario, Kazi. We typically see them lose their minds under green and start door banging each other, doing stuff, even though they're teammates. But we haven't seen that so far. They've been working together over the course of this last 5 laps. So at the end of stage 1, I think that's all done. I think it's going to be gloves off. They're going to be going for it.
Happens we got a bunch of guys that have the camaraderie that this group does, combined with how competitive each one of these drivers are.
And we've been talking about them a lot because they're up in the top 3 spots now, but you can't count out Chad Gunningsman, Drew Prohl, Lou Christian. He's the one that won at Auto Club a few weeks ago. Cannot count out these guys that are now running up in the top 10. We'll see if any of them can steal this stage win away from Justin Levine and the One Sim boys. Coming down to the green flag, 5 laps to go in stage number 1, and it looked like one car might have missed a shift on the inside line. Couldn't quite tell. I think it was Drew Prohl that just did not get going.
Yeah, there's a big gap there on the inside. The 08, that is Drew Prohl. Let's see, he got back on it though, and now he's leading Lou Christian.
Single file down the back straightaway. Levine on the point with Joseph Kazi and Johan Seminario directly in tow behind him. Right outside of camera view though, just on the fringe of it is the 79 machine of Gunningsman who we were talking about. And if he can get hooked up with that 29 machine behind him, he can definitely stir this fight up. But coming to lap 47, Justin Levine's going to lead it.
Kazi all over the back bumper as they come down the front straightaway. Bump drafting from the front 2, bump drafting from 3rd and 4th. Nobody making a move for the lead just yet. Kazi looking a little bit higher, coming through turns 1 and 2. Now he's going to pull the over-under, coming off the corner, now looking to the inside of Justin Levine down the back straightaway, but just not enough of a run in it for him to do anything. Just going to have to fall back in line. Kazi, 3.5 laps left for him to try something to win this stage.
Here comes Kazi, sending it deep into turn 3 on the outside, trying to build up that momentum on Levine, but Levine's going to get a really good run on the bottom. Going to be able to come up and block him off, but here comes Seminario with a little bit of a shot to the door.
Oh no!
We got one around in the back.
Drew Prohl gets sent spinning down the front straightaway. He's going to lock it down to try to not collect anybody else. Oh, a big mess of cars coming down the front stretch, trying to avoid them. And I got to think that's going to end stage number 1 in a very unceremonious way, unfortunate way to end stage number 1. But it looks like Justin Levine is going to pick up the stage win with that yellow flag. So we get a look at the replay here to see what happened to Drew Prohl.
Gonna get a little high there, up into the fence, and not clear.
Yep, nowhere to go. Nowhere. It was not. It was not room on the track for what it looked like he wanted to do after hitting the fence. He might have needed some room to recover, and he just didn't have it. Spun himself over the nose of that car.
I think the car slid up went up a couple lanes, just didn't have the reference point for where Pro was. Unfortunate racing deal. Going to take Pro out of the points here for stage 1.
And that is going to end stage number 1. So we're going to go ahead and take our second commercial break of the racing action. Whenever we come back, we're going to have stage number 2 coming at you live.
Want to be the best? You can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Makoni.
With the launch of Makoni Entertainment and Makoni Competizone alongside Makoni Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MakoniSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Spartans Masters Series here for the start of stage number 2. Well, we got a different race leader up at the front of the field here. It looks like Dave Fuge crossed the line first. I'm not sure if he's the race leader. No, it's Hall. Christoph Hall is the race leader down on the bottom. I didn't know if Fuge maybe picked the outside, but no, Christoph Hall is going to be your race leader here on this restart. Fuge, Hall, Souza, Harrell, all jumping. Your race leaders, did they not take tires on this pit stop? They didn't pit it. Excuse me. I believe one of them might have came away with the stage win from not pitting. We'll have to get confirmation on that a little bit later. But either way, we're coming back down to the restart for the start of stage number 2. 70 laps to go in this thing. Hopefully we take it green to the end. Christoph Hall, Dave Fuge Jr., Jeffrey Souza, Sammy Harrell, Johan Seminario, Justin Levine, Chad Gunningsman, Mark Sanchez, Jose Medina, and Lou Christian round out the top 10 for this restart. And Christoph Hall takes us back down to the green flag, and we're racing once again for Michigan.
There goes the 98 across the line. Everybody else still 2x2 a little bit. The front pack of 5 pulling away. Seminario in the back of that, making it 6.
Here you go. You see the benefit of the fresh tires. The race starting to work in the favor of Justin Levine's. He's going to get by the 22 machine of Fuge down the back straightaway. And we got a car sideways in front of the field in the back.
no!
Huge crash.
Whoa!
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
Kazi destroyed. He got
Kazi's
sent
in
up
there.
across the track and about took out 3-4 other cars and stuffed them all into the fence on the outside. That is going to do a lot of damage to a lot of race cars, and somehow Kazi's car does not look that killed. What? How does it look okay? A little bit of right front damage on the 69.
Nice.
God, these things are tanks. Too tanky, too tanky.
Let's see what happened here.
Look at it. Looks like the 69 machine gets up in a little bit of trouble with Vincent on his outside. Slides up
Just
the
got too
track.
high.
Huge shot from the 75, and it's around they all go. Nowhere for Kazi to really go. No time to even react to that one, which is much the story for the rest of the field involved, too. See, unfortunately, it looks like Kalen Mitchell might have got a piece of that, too.
Yeah, he had to take hard evasive maneuvers to the outside. I think he put himself into the wall trying to avoid that. So he might have some right rear damage from the heavy hit he took. But you can see the 69 just a little bit too wide. And at that point, it's just mayhem, right? On a restart, it's always going to be chaotic coming out of turn number 2 whenever we're all packed up like that. And unfortunately, you know, if you spin in front of the pack like that, you're just going to catch up another 5-10 cars.
Oh,
Surprisingly,
no, Westwood.
not as much damage as I thought in that one, but Westwood, like you were about to say, has some heavy front damage.
Yeah, Kyle Westwood looks like he got bit by the commentator bug tonight. Another car that looked like he got caught in it was the 23 machine of Kibbe. I think who pilots that.
I can't decide if I need to start picking a different guy just to give him some luck, or if I stick with him till the end.
Sheldon,
Just
who
out
was
of
your pick?
pure spite.
I don't want to talk about it. He's probably pretty hot right now.
Oh, so we're all three doing really bad.
Oh, we're doing
Yeah.
absolutely horrible.
Okay. Oh man,
Yeah.
did all
Right,
four
so-
of our guys get taken out in that? Our producer picked PB Henry. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, that's rough. All 4 of our guys are running great there for a little bit, and then they weren't.
Now,
And,
lucky for them, like we mentioned, these cars are tanks. So while I don't like that, they're back in the race, right? They just come down pit road. If you have 30 seconds, a minute and a half of damage, just get it all fixed up, and you're probably going to be just fine. So, good news for most of them. Westwood with that front end damage, maybe not, but I feel like the rest of the guys might be okay.
I will say, from my experience covering them in trucks earlier this year in the High Slide Truck Series, I'm used to seeing Kazi somewhere around midway through the race absolutely bin it and destroy it, and then still somehow come back up into the top 3 by the end of it. So
Yeah.
A little bit of foreshadowing. A little bit of foreshadowing.
that's a common occurrence for him, and if he doesn't put himself behind the 8 ball at least once in the race, he's not happy.
He's definitely checkers or wreckers. Is it going to be checkers and wreckers tonight?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Chekhov's Kazi.
Who's Kazi's favorite current driver? We got that detail up here in the booth tonight.
Good
It's got to
question.
be. It's got to be Bell or Larson with how much he wrecks. I mean, he drives just like both of them. He's got the speed, but he just wrecks every other week. So.
Yeah.
It's like.
Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson.
I knew it.
Hey.
Is it really? Wow. Okay. Well, that makes total sense. That's
And then-
understandable.
Let's see.
Let's
Gunningsman.
see.
I feel like Ross Chastain.
Gunningsman probably doesn't have a.
No, never mind.
Okay, 'cause
Gunningsman
he-
doesn't
How
like
about-
race car drivers.
Let's do Dave Fuge Jr. We know we got one for him, probably, right?
Dave Fuge Jr. I feel like it's gonna be a
Oh, that's
Derek Cope. That is not where I was expecting this to go.
Good God.
good. Me either.
That's
That
a.
is-
That's an interesting
Well-
pick there from Fuge.
Can I be unfiltered here?
Okay, let's do a different one. Let's do Mark Sanchez. Don't click it yet because we got to guess for him. We got to guess for him. So for Mark Sanchez, I'm gonna guess that he's gonna be a Joey Logano fan.
Okay, for me,
I'll second that.
see what brand does he drive? We got that? Probably Chevy, right?
Chevy.
I'm going Kevin Harvick.
All right, let's see him on the board. Mark Sanchez.
Daniel Suarez.
Okay,
Respect.
well that probably should have made sense.
Respect.
Why did none of us pick Daniel Suarez? His last name is freaking Sanchez. We might be stupid. We might be stupid.
He's got to learn to
just-
connect. You know,
I just think none of us wanted to get ourselves in trouble if it wasn't Daniel Suarez.
yeah.
That's kind of profiling.
Well, profiling turned out to be accurate this time. Either way, Christoph Hall coming down to the green flag. 65 laps to go on this restart. Coming down to the restart zone once again. Green flag's flying. And that inside line got a nice jump. It looks like Fuge might be able to clear for the second place spot. He's got the draft from the leader in front of him. But no, Hall's going to duck up to the top side of the racetrack, give himself a better entry angle down into turn number 1. And he's going to stay committed to that outside groove, even though they're going slower on lap number 1 on a restart than they are at any other point, but it's going to work out for him. That outside line rolling here on the restart.
Tires giving a huge shot to the back of second place Souza. Souza's going to dive down to the bottom here, trying to make a move on the inside of Hall, and he's going to be able to get it down there. Is he going to be able to make it stick? Not quite. He's going to wash up the track and open the door for Levine to try and make a charge for second place.
Levine down on the inside of the racetrack. Now he's going to try to make it 3 wide for the race lead. Looking to the inside, but did not quite have the run. But man, Souza just absolutely flying past Christoph Hall, who has just dropped anchor down the front straightaway all the way outside of the top 5. He was leading in turns 3 and 4. Instead, it's going to be a side-by-side battle for the race lead. Levine's found the right rear quarter panel of the 96, and he is just driving right around him on the exit of 2.
What
Levine.
a drive for Justin Levine.
And Levine with a power move, going to get himself up to the lead here, coming into turn number 3. And they are 3 wide behind.
I thought the
Souza doing
situation at the front was going to be sorted out.
Harrell and Fuge almost wrecked each other coming out of turn number 4. Luckily, they were door-to-door, so it was just a little bit of door-banging contact instead of somebody getting turned across the other's nose. But side-by-side, down into turn number 1. A little bit further back in the pack, but also for the second place spot. Johann's trying to get past Souza for second. Levine gave a draft to his teammate down the back straightaway, but it just was not enough for him to do anything. Instead, Gunningsman pushing Souza back up to the race leader. Souza might get the right rear of Levine coming out of turn number 4, and it looks like he's going to be able to do it. Can he get the side draft now on Levine as we come down the front straightaway? Johann tries to go up to kind of counter the side draft, but it's just not going to be enough. Souza still with a head of momentum coming down into turn number 1.
Oh, a little bit of contact there. 56 machine of Seminario gets to the side of Gunningsman. Everybody's going to be good coming into turn number 1, but that could have been a huge moment. And there's still going to be side-by-side coming out of turn number 2. But Levine, no help, falling back now as Gunningsman hooks up to the back bumper of Souza coming into turn number 3.
This back at the front has been an interesting set of drivers. They've got Chad Gunningsman up 32 places, Souza up 21. These guys have come from all over the pack, from the middle and back of the pack, and now they are just dominating this race. It's been an absolutely awesome sight to see, Austin.
Down into turn 1, Souza still the guy leading the charge, but look at the guy behind him. It's somebody we have not seen up in the top 3 all night. Gunningsman has gotten himself up here for the first time right at the halfway point. Gunningsman trying to look down to the inside down the back straightaway. Not enough of momentum to make a move coming down to turn number 3. He's just going to lift a little bit earlier, take that outside groove, try to get some clean air, and then turn under that number 96. But unfortunately, he just gets stuck in the tire tracks coming off the corner and not going to be able to get that big of a run. He's got the draft all the way down the front straightaway, but he just does not have the help close enough behind.
Trying to get up to the back bumper of Souza. Not able to do this. If you look a little bit further back in the pack, this is the 29 machine of Sanchez, right outside of the top 5. Working that middle line, trying to build some kind of a run on the 42 machine of Harrell. But here comes Levine diving back down to the inside for second place.
They're
And a
wrecking
huge
further
crash.
back. Sure, Jr. got tagged sideways. They ping pong into Chris Vinson, and he goes spinning down to the bottom side of the racetrack. 3 or 4 other cars involved, and the yellow flag is going to fly once again right at the halfway point.
Corey Atkins maybe involved too. Let's see what happens here. Drew rolls on the outside, Vincent on the inside. Vincent comes up.
Oh,
Ooh.
oh, Cher was something happened to
Cher
Cher before
falls
that even
back.
started.
Yeah, Ed tried to make a 3-wide move in the middle, coming out of turn number 2. He kind of split the middle from the top side of the racetrack, and I think it caught the 6 off guard. He thought he was going to be 2 wide coming off the corner, so he's coming up the racetrack. Instead, he starts to be 3 wide, and so it just they just ran out of room. Honestly, a really aggressive move by Ed. Coming out of the corner, you typically want to track out to the wall. Obviously, he's going for a gap there in the middle, trying to pick up some spots, but he did kind of put the 6 in a tough situation there, trying to trying to make that move here at the halfway point. The move was on, but Corey just did not see it coming.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
that,
not much you could have seen.
That risk versus reward, key that I was talking about earlier in the race. You can make bold moves, but you also got to know that the guys that you're making those bold moves around are going to have your best interests as well as theirs when you make it. Sometimes people just get down there and they, charge it a little too hard, not expecting what the car is going to do, and it turns into moments like that. Tough break for everybody involved, though, as we see the leaders dive back down pit road, led by Souza.
Then split decisions over here. Yeah, not everybody wanted to make that move.
About 6 cars staying out so far, make it 7, 8. About 8 or 9 cars staying out, it looks like, so far. So, split decision at the front. There were 5 tire sets tonight, so if you saved one in stage 1, I really, really like coming down to take one right now. I think this is a great move for the guys that saved one in the middle of that stage. But I'm not quite sure exactly who's on that strategy, but either way, we do have a lot of tire sets here tonight, so I don't think it's going to be an issue like it has been in previous races.
We got to give a tip at the cap here as everything recycles itself here with Levine and Seminario and a handful of others staying out. Got to give a tip at the cap though to Souza. He was out there on older stuff. If I've got that correct in my head, and was able to hold a strong charge up there at the lead and really keep those guys at bay.
Looks like the top, I might have miscounted a little bit earlier. It looks like the top 7 stayed out on the racetrack. So the top 7 of your running order right here. Everybody in front of Chad Gunningsman. Chad was the first guy off of pit road. So Jake Hickson, Chad Gibby, PB Henry, Zodiac, Lou Christian, Johan Seminario, Justin Levine from 7th to 1st. All on older tires. Not a lot of green flag laps on them, but look, man, if this thing runs green to the end, they're going to be hurting. They're going to be hurting.
Yeah, that's going to be there's not much you can do in that strategy, but try to recover from it if it runs green to the end. They're almost playing it like they're expecting it to go, kind of like it's been going. We've had fairly consistent yellows, at least after if you look at the whole picture, I think, and it could be fair to say that they expect another one.
Well, realistically speaking, based on everything we've seen today, and that's before we've gotten to the points of the race that really truly matter, there's going to be more cautions, guys.
I think I'd have to agree with you. And we know, it's been a bit of a caution fest so far already. And coming down to the end of this thing, I mean, they're just going to be more aggressive. The aggression's going to go up. Now we've got people on different tire strategies, so there's going to be some people that are a little bit faster than some of the guys at the front. We could see some issues in the middle of the corner due to differences in grip strength between different cars. So I'm looking forward to seeing how some of these guys on the newer tires fare. The first couple laps, they might still be relatively even with the likes of Levine, Seminario, Christian, Zodiac, Henry. But give it 10, 15, 20 laps. If we can stay green for that long, I really think that these new tires are going to come into play.
That's from I got a question for you. You said they're going to be aggressive. Does aggressive go around?
I think all the aggressives are going to go around. I think that's a very, very, very fair share. I'm telling you, I think we're still seeing another 20-car pileup by the end of the night.
I hope somebody dusts off the catch fence, because I think that's going to be in play here at some point.
Come back up for another restart. Gonna have 56 laps to go whenever we come across the line. Justin Levine, Johan Seminario, Lou Christian, Kevin Zodiac, your top 4. Zodiac nosed it into the inside fence off the nose of Kalen Mitchell earlier, and he's found himself back into the top 5. So what can Zodiac do with that fixed up race car as the green flag's flying once again, and Levine is back in the race lead.
Levine going to slide up the track here, try to throw a block on the 56 Seminario. Seminario going to ride in line behind him, coming into turn 1, trying to get that taper down to a little bit to try and get a little bit of clean air to the nose. But a little bit of side-by-side action shaping up for second place as you see Christian taking the 3rd spot away from Zodiac. And, oh, huge slide there from somebody a little further in the back. I think that's Sanchez in the 29 machine. A dart right back down to the bottom. No harm, no foul, though. Look at them starting to fan out here in the corners. These guys trying to get that outside line to work all the way up there against the fence.
They've made that outside line work tonight more often than not, it seems like. The inside line has had its moments, but getting the speed off the inside against somebody who's got the momentum on the outside has been kind of a tall order.
That middle
I have
line
to
is
agree,
always good.
It's
but
the middle line. It's the middle line.
Aggressive. Yeah, like the Kyle
That-
Larson line right up against the cushion up on the fence and the marbles. That's been a tough feat for anybody here throughout the past handful of years.
Yeah, I just haven't seen it work out for too many people. We see Saucier way up the racetrack now in the 3-wide battle, almost to the fence. I feel like if you're 3-wide, you're probably in a good spot doing it way up there. But if you're in that 2-wide position, you probably just want to get down another lane or two. Try to put it on the door of the guy on the inside. It really gives you your best opportunity at making the pass. I just feel like that really, really wide arc that we've been seeing a lot of these guys run the last couple laps just hasn't been that great through the night. And you start to see some of them starting to pinch it down through 1 and 2. Saucier running a little bit lower than he had been. It's still too wide there from 6 for the 6th place spot. Make it 7th. As it looks like Jake Hicks is just slightly falling back there on the inside groove down the back straightaway. They might be 3 wide coming off of turn number 4. Here's Chad Kibbe looking to the inside, a little bit of contact with Zosiak. Both those guys keeping it straight, but 3 wide down the front straightaway right behind him as well. A couple tight battles with another 54 laps to go.
Look at this, man. Kibbe was in a pretty big wreck a handful of laps ago. Back up here in the top 5, fighting for it right now with Genningsman and Zosiak. Looks like he's going to get the spot on Zosiak. Going to tuck in line right here behind Gunningsman down the back straightaway. And right now, Levine throwing a bit of a block to his teammate, Johan Seminario, down the back straightaway. Trying to break the draft on the car on the outside, Luke Christian. But Levine going to lead him out of 4s. They are side by side for 2nd place right now. And it looks like Seminario is going to get the pole with the draft. You awesome.
Coming down to turn number 1, Levine has got that lead still. Johan down to the inside trying to take that 2nd place position back from Luke Christian, but Christian in that middle groove just able to get the better momentum coming off of the corner. Got to think that he's going to get him down the back straightaway this time. Levine trying to give his teammate the side or the draft again, but just not enough. Luke Christian able to get clear for the 2nd place position. They're going to be side by side again as Johan throws it down deep into turn number 3, but Lou on that outside groove just looks so good, Joe.
It's beautiful. They got 3 wide right now, sitting back there. It's Corey Adkins in the middle. Can he hold on to it? Looks like he just bounced off Chad Kibbe. But they've got it still 3 wide. He might end up falling back a little bit between Jake Hickson. I think he's trying to find a safe spot to go.
I think the 16 he's been up into the 6 of Adkins. Adkins, they're both going to keep it under him, but now they're going to be 3 wide down the back straightaway as you see the Zosiak machine dive all the way down to the flat. Not able to do much with it, though. And PB Henry's back in the fight now.
I've seen a lot of accidents tonight from a car getting tight on the inside of the racetrack. Those two lucky to avoid the worst coming off of turn 2 that time by. But Luke Christian on the top side of the racetrack down the front straightaway with help from Chad Kibbe trying to get to the back bumper of Levine. Can he find the right rear through 1 and 2 as Levine goes all the way down to the yellow line? And Luke Christian's just trying to get the run down the back straightaway and trying to take Chad Kibbe with him.
He's got a pretty decent run right now with the bump. He's giving them the push right now, pushing Justin Levine down into the turn. We'll see if that gives Levine a little too much momentum. He's got to hold on to it. Down to the inside goes Levine, down to the yellow line. He's still got a good grip on this thing, as it looks like Luke Christian doesn't have the speed to take things on the outside.
Yeah, Christian getting a little bit tight behind Levine there in the arrow wash of the number 1 machine. Kind of slumped down there in the center of the corner. And honestly, the guy that I'm keeping my eyes on right now, though, is that 23 machine, a Kibbe from the back to the front with heavy damage earlier in this event. And back up here, looks like the car is not showing a miss in any way. I feel like that's one of the few cars that could probably have something to go toe-to-toe with these 1-10 machines at the front.
Luke Christian, Chad Kibbe running in the 2nd and 3rd place position. Somebody we haven't talked too much about tonight is Jake Hickson, now running in 5th. For whatever reason, I feel like Jake Hickson just has these random races. Contacts with the wall. The 2nd and 3rd place runners both finding the fence. Luke Christian and Chad Kibbe had been making up a ton of ground on the outside, started to challenge Levine, but instead they're falling back to 4th and 6th.
Seminario now holding on to 2nd.
That's the easiest thing to do if you're following somebody here. Here in Auto Club are 2 tracks where you'll just, the guy in front of you miss the line a little bit, and you'll just, be complacent and following what they're doing, thinking that they're going to make it. You both end up finding yourself into the fence.
You don't want to trust the wrong guy here. That's for sure. If you go down to the corner behind somebody, you better hope and pray that they know what they're doing coming out of the corner, or else you're going to find the fence right along with them. Unfortunately, there for Kibbe, he followed Christian right into it. mostly single file throughout the field, even outside of the top 10. Not too many heavy battles going on at this point. Gotta think we're seeing a little bit of tire management and a little bit of fuel saving.
No, absolutely.
This is the meat and potatoes portion of the race, basically the staple moment where you've got to drive safely enough to make it to the end of the race where you can do that extra hard charging and have the tires to do it and have the gas to do it. But I think these guys are just getting into that spot right now. As you can see, the top 5, top 7 lining up very nicely.
And we are going to need at least one more pit stop tonight. 46 laps to go this time by. Absolutely going to need one more pit stop in it. So got to think the guys especially that did not pit on that last caution, top 7 that had stayed out, I got to think that they might be cutting it kind of close on that one stop.
There's Causey. Like I said earlier, sneaking his way back through the field, and he's bringing I think was that Schaefer with him. Both of those cars involved in that incident a handful of laps back. Both of them up here just within the top 10 or in the range of it.
Causey now looking at Christoph Hall. He's got him on the inside, Hall on the outside, and the GOAT machine. Causey's just going to squeeze on by. I think he's going to have the speed coming through the turn here. As Christoph takes the high line and loses the spot, Causey slides up and brings Reese with him.
Yeah, for Hall, that right there is just knowing who you're racing, knowing that Causey's got a fast machine. Let him get by you. Don't hold yourselves up. Don't make your race any harder, trying to make somebody else's race harder. And smart driving out of Hall right now. As you see, he's doing the same thing with the 97 machine, but the 97's going to get loose on the bottom and not be able to complete the pass. And he's going to lose a ton of momentum down this long front straightaway.
And remember, Hall's one of the guys that stayed out on tires, so he's got a little bit older rubber than these guys. So if you see somebody like Causey coming up behind you on a little bit fresher tires, get out of the way. Just, let him go. Like you said, Sheldon, no reason to hurt your own race. Whenever somebody's just a little bit faster than you, no harm, no foul, and letting somebody go. Ooh, these guys side by side coming out of turn number 2. Getting a little twitchy. Big move down the back straightaway here. Somebody getting under Corey Saucier, trying to make a move.
And these guys are having the standard Michigan race from 15th on back. Where nobody wants to give anybody anything, and everybody thinks that they can go out here and lead this thing. Oh, huge slide out of Ed Scherer Jr. coming out of turn number 4. Good job keeping it underneath them. But once again, it's going to be huge loss of momentum on the front straightaways. You see him get dived on the inside with that light blue machine. Coming into turn number 1.
That's Charles Van Schack on the inside.
And behind them, it's Tom Ringer in the 68 trying to keep pace. Van Schack, though, on the X side. Another
just about a wreck
there.
out of 2.
Almost a wreck there.
A little aggressive there from Gerlach coming off of turn 2, kind of squeezing somebody down the racetrack. It kind of seemed like, anyway. Looked like he squeezed William Lark down to the bottom side of the racetrack. Not quite sure what happened to those 2 off of 2, but both of them able to keep the cars clean and stay in this thing inside the top 30. Both those guys currently running, even after that little bit of an issue. Back up at the front of the field, though, mostly spread apart up in the top 10, right? There's a little bit over a tenth of a second between the leader and second. Obviously, second and third right on top of each other. Corey Hadkins running in 4th with Lou Christian right there with him. PB Henry has gotten himself up into the 6th place position. Kevin Zosiak still in 7th. Chad Kibbe 8th, Joseph Causey 9th, and Chad Gunningsman currently rounding out your top 10. But like I said, a lot of field spread so far.
I think that separation at the front, though, is Johan, doing what we see week in and week out. I think he's just trying to save a little bit of tire, keep them things cool, and mount his charge here at the end of the race where it really matters.
I was just watching the battle there between Reese Schaefer and Christoph Hall. Again, it was going on, but then he got a little bit of draft from Chad Genningsman, and Reese Schaefer was able to pull ahead of Hall. Behind him now is the 29 of Mark Sanchez, but Schaefer and Genningsman are leading this little pack, just behind Joseph Causey.
Coming down the front straightaway, all these guys still just trying to get everything they can. Obviously, none of these guys kind of in the running for the race win right at this moment, but you just don't quite know how the strategy is going to play out. We know a couple of these guys have taken tires a little bit later than a couple of our leaders. When does that really start to come into play? Does it come into play? Does the difference in fuel mileage hamper or harm anybody that's up at the front of the field. Just gonna have to wait and see. A little bit of a slow burner here tonight at Michigan.
With the racing intelligence of the guys up here in the top 5, top 10, I don't think that the fuel mileage is really going to be that much of an issue, because I can't imagine that, guys like Levine, Seminario, Christian, PB Henry, these guys that you see week in and week out running up front in the top 10 in the NIS and the A Open Series, I can't imagine they'd be, not paying attention to their numbers. I think they've probably got the strategy, because there's a reason why those guys win a lot of races, and it's because they typically have the whole package figured out.
Really seems like it. We've got just a little bit of a pack here that hasn't quite solidified into a single file yet, and it's the pack that contains Chad Genningsman, Ed Shears Jr.
It's like Kibbe on pit road.
And Lou Christian. Both those guys coming down pit road a little earlier than I expected. 38 laps to go. Do you think we can make it on fuel from here, even with our shorter fuel tank? Well, I just heard from my producer, absolutely not. Hey, he sounded pretty confident in that, so I think I think they're gonna have to come down one more time. But that does make me think the guys that came down pit road after your race leaders, they might be able to make it on one stop. The guys that are battling 10th on back, a couple of guys up in the top 10 even, I believe, could have a chance. But man, here comes the rest of the leaders. Levine being aggressive as possible, coming down pit road. Oh no, the 6 ends up hitting the yellow cone coming down pit road. I think he's gonna get an unsafe pit entry penalty for that one. That was really, really aggressive from Corey Atkins.
Not good at this stage, especially when you want to be in a good position for this last good stint of the race. Hopefully Atkins doesn't get too adversely affected by that. We'll see.
Cousin Corey. Tough break for him. We'll find out, though, if that jack comes down, that car don't move. Well, it looks like he didn't get a penalty. He just came close to hitting the cone, but still stayed within the commitment bound. So a lucky break for the 6 machine. But it was a decent amount of time that he lost trying to keep it off of the car in front of him. But Levine's going to lead him off pit road here as Kazi gets the 5 points on the board, leading the lap here.
Of course. Somehow Joseph Kazi involved in a wreck. Now up in the race lead, and he pitted after these guys that just came down pit road. Does he have enough gas into the tank to only have to come down one more time? That's the question. If he does, I think he wins this race.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing with Kazi. As long as he's able to keep all 4 wheels on the racetrack, and the roof out of the fence, he typically finds a way to climb his way back from most adversity. You see, he's getting raced by PB Henry right here. PB Henry trying to get his lap back.
PB just off the pit road coming down to turn number 1 on the newer tires, able to just breeze past Joseph Kazi. Not too big of a surprise there. These guys are going to get a very, very big healthy gap on Kazi after this pit stop. The problem is, even if Kazi couldn't run them down, they can't make it to the end on gas. So I think it's advantage Kazi, Schaefer, Sanchez, Schur, Ringer. I think that these guys are in the driver's seat in the top 5 right here, right now.
See Kazi and these guys up here at the front committing to another lap. Trying to stretch this window as long as they can. And honestly, I think one thing that they're all probably praying for, too, at the same time is maybe a little bit of a caution flag here. We got half the field trapped a lap down.
We'll
Just
see.
Like yelled at by our producer for mentioning the magic word.
I think that they know. I think they know that if this thing runs green, they win the race. So I feel like they're rooting for this thing to run green. As long as they can make it on gas, they're rooting for this thing to run green. On one stop, I should say.
Yeah.
$25 laps on the stint currently, 33 laps to go. So you got to think if they can make it another 4 laps, that should put them on their number. Everybody running in the top 22 right here. So just pay attention. Can these guys get to lap number 92? If they can, I think that they got a good shot.
Another thing before we get too deep into the late stages of this thing, how many sets of tires do these guys have left?
I think they have plenty. They had 5 at the start of the night, 4 behind the pit wall.
5 sets? Oh man, at Michigan, yeah, you can make that last a while.
Yeah, I think that everybody's got at least 1 set of tires behind pit wall at this point still.
See Kibbe getting his lap back from Kazi here. And just it's a race of great recoveries. You got Kazi out here leading after, all the damage he got into earlier with that earlier wreck, getting spun in front of the field. Schaefer out here in second place, running strong after the same story. Kibbe been fighting inside the top 5, top 10. And yeah, Sanchez, after we misrepresented his favorite driver, running pretty strong.
Hey, sure, was in one of those accidents too. That front end of his nose was absolutely caved in. I mean, it looked like his left fender was his left butt cheek, and his right fender was his right butt cheek, and there was a big crack in the middle. But somehow that crack has completely disappeared. They have completely cemented that thing up, and there is no shit leaking up in the top 5.
Sounds like Shearer is turning his engine off in the turns here.
And that's tough to do that at Michigan, especially in a car that doesn't have any daggum horsepower to get you back down the straightaway at a decent speed. If you can do that without losing speed, stay in the draft, stay with your group of cars, that's mighty impressive. You can see him clutching it down, getting to 2,000 RPM, doing everything he can to save as much fuel as possible to give himself a shot to win this thing, and he's still within fighting distance of Kazi up in the lead.
Also, look who's up in third place right now, Drew Prohl. He had issues earlier, too.
Every one of these guys has been involved in something, and they are your current top 5, fighting for the race win. What a storyline for this thing. And, I mean, even a couple of these other guys coming through, coming up towards the front, Charles Van Schack, Tom Ringer, Jeffrey Souza, Chad Gunningsman, all these guys, they still got a chance. You got to think some of these guys that are 3 seconds off of Kazi might have done a better job saving fuel than Kazi did. If Joseph has to come down this time or next time, maybe a couple of these other guys are able to push it 1 or 2 more laps and not have to save as much on that next stint.
Yeah. That could be the thing that saves him in a battle of a situation like this where you've got a gap forming and what could end up being a green flag run to the finish.
There's on pit road.
You've got to play these pit stops smart. And here they come.
Edward Schur Jr. on pit road. Chris Vincent on pit road as well. It looks like Todd Parent, Art Nicotera, Chuck Burley, all on pit road, taking their last set of tires. At least what you expect to be their last set of tires going on these things if we stay green the rest of the way. Caleb Mitchell getting his lap back with his newer tires. Joseph Kazi looking low here in 3 and 4, but is he going to come down pit road? Yes, he's going to get off the gas pedal, bring it down, and that's aggressive. That's aggressive from your race leader.
Really
Holy
fast.
cow, Kazi.
That was really fast.
That's close. I'm going to have to go back and look to see how much speed. He was 65 right whenever he crossed the line. You got to get it down to 55.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
He slowed it all the way down to 50, and I know that iRacing gives you a little bit of leniency with that kind of stuff, so we'll have to wait and see. Is Kazi going to remain in his box? His left side tires are going on right now. He does not have a hold. Kazi got away with that one.
Amazing.
Not a soul in Michigan that had a better entry to pit road there than Kazi.
No, you couldn't do it any better than that.
It's classic him, man. He charges it every second of every lap. And that's the reason why, he's always so competitive in the points for all these series that he runs.
Van Schack and Souza just came down right there, too, from the top 10. They were running top 10 before everybody else pitted, and now Evan Ethel also deciding to come down pit road. Is Saucier out of gas down here on turns 3 and 4 on the apron?
No. Better hope that he's able to limp that thing around, because if he gets stuck down there on that apron, that will be a caution. Looks like he's in 3 and 4, though, coming to the front stretch, so he will be able to bring it in, but that is a massive loss on the time delta for him.
Yeah, it's all that time spent rolling to a stop. There's nothing he can do about it. He needs every ounce of kinetic energy that's in that car right now to get it to the line and get some gas in it.
Well, as we have cycled through our final pit stop sequence, at least if we don't have another caution, we're going to go ahead and take our final commercial break of the racing action. Whenever we come back, we're taking this thing to the checkered flag. Stay with us.
You can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Makoni.
With the launch of Makoni Entertainment and Makoni Competizone alongside Makoni Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MakoniSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the conclusion of the Spartans Masters Series from the Michigan International Speedway. Most of the final pit stops have taken place, but the guys that are currently running in the top 8 all have to come back down pit road one more time for a splash of gas. They are hoping and praying for a caution before they have to, so that everybody else will come down pit road and take tires alongside of them, and they won't have to give up their track position. But if this thing runs green, Levine, Seminario, Hickson, Henry, Adkins, Christian, Zodiac, Kibbe, your top 8, they will not even be anywhere close to that at the finish of this race.
That stands to completely change the standings. And if we look at the top 8, who's in 9th place right now? Joseph Causey.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I mean, I could have swore whenever I saw that accident happen and I thought he was going to have a ton of damage. He got lucky only having a little bit, and then obviously he got that little bit fixed, and that car has been just as fast, if not quicker, than it was at the beginning.
Completely calculated. He meant to do that.
Oh,
that was part of the strategy. He'll tell us that if he does win this thing, he gets up in the booth. That's the first thing he's going to say. He'll be like, "Yeah, run the whole field."
Yeah, we definitely heard that one.
Oh, sweet! I love it when my mic decides it wants to clip for no reason. But
Here's Lou
yeah.
Christian. Lou Christian coming down pit road for his final pit stop, and it looks like Kayla Mitchell in that and those DeWalt colors, that beautiful yellow and black paint scheme, going to come down pit road as well for his final time down pit road from the top 10. Obviously, the strategy did not quite play out in their favor tonight with the way that the cautions just stopped falling at the perfectly wrong time for him, honestly.
Yeah, it tends to happen that way. It typically, at least in my experience, every race I've ever ran, it just falls apart around somewhere around halfway.
As you can see from the camera switching, those pit stops have completely fragmented the field for the most part. We don't have a pack right now of more than about 5 cars.
That turns the old caution likelihood down significantly.
It does.
Once you get spread out at a place like Michigan, it's very, very hard to get a yellow because, you know, a lot of our accidents happen off of 2, off of 4, whenever guys are side by side and the guy on the inside just washes up a little bit too much and turns the guy on the outside. The problem is whenever that happens, whenever we're all spread out, typically you get turned down towards the apron, run onto the apron, or run to the grass on the front straightaway before the caution has a chance to come out because nobody is close enough behind you as you're sideways. And it could just prevent the yellow flag from coming out. So if you get this long green flag run, if you get a set of green flag pit stops to spread the field out, it just becomes so much harder for there to be a yellow flag.
Well, if that was part of the strategy, and I thought it was going to be part of the strategy for some of these guys at the front, then it looks like it may not pay off in the long run. That was a gamble that was, I thought, weighted in favor of Michigan being Michigan, as one might expect. But the way that the pit stop strategies have played out have definitely changed the pace of things here at the end of the race.
Looking through the field there, looking at Shake back there in 11th place. Souza hot on his heels right now. Pretty clean race for these two. Haven't really had to talk about them for much reason. Ed Shearer Jr. just a couple car lengths back. A quiet day out here for some of these guys, which is the way you want to be when you go to Michigan. You know that you can tear up so much equipment so fast here.
Can't be an easy racetrack to total your car. Obviously, the faster track's a little bit easier to take bigger damage, especially in a car like the next gen. There's not too many tracks that I feel like you really have to worry about wrecking it. Seminary and Levine coming down pit road, though, taking their final pit stop. Unfortunately, they did not get the caution flag that they needed. Handing over the lead for now to PB Henry, but again, he's going to have to come down pit road one more time, as is Corey Adkins and Kevin Zosiak. So all these guys going to get relegated back further in the pack. They're going to stay on the lead lap after this, so they're still going to be hoping for a caution. And if it comes out, they very well could cycle back up to the front, but they're going to need a lot of luck. They need somebody to wreck just about right now.
No one took the bait.
Nope. I tried the broadcaster curse, but it just didn't work.
You did. I noticed.
No, that's
Yeah,
my
Sheldon's the
pick up
cursor.
there. No, I'm not doing it, man. That's my pickup there. That's going to cycle out in a good spot. I've been cursing him all year.
Wow, selfish.
You darn right. Oh, no, don't do it. Don't do it, other me. Adkins just about looped it through 3 and 4.
Cousin Corey struggling out of turn number 4, able to hang on to it. Henry and Zosiak coming down pit road. So is Chad Kibbe. Obviously a little bit tougher there for Kibbe. Saw some smoke trails on the bottom side of the racetrack there for Chad, but he's able to get that thing down on pit road. And we're just about all cycled out. Corey Adkins, the last of the guys that still needs to come down pit road in the top 10, and then it'll hand it over to Kazi, where we think they can make it to the end.
Kazi, his life isn't going to be super easy. He's got Schaefer in a fast car right there behind him in 3rd. And we haven't seen these two run up here at the front. It's going to be interesting to see if Schaefer's able to close that gap just a smidge and get to the rear bumper, and what he can do if he can get to the back of the 88 machine. But as it sits right now, Kazi's still in the catbird seat to possibly bring home the hardware tonight from Michigan.
As much as I like Kazi, and it's fine whenever he wins, I would love to see a Reese Schaefer win. A Reese Schaefer win would feed generations tonight.
Yeah. I mean, he got
rather than Kazi.
If memory serves, we called him to one at Bristol, and it was a just about a surprise. Came in strong in the late stages of that race and just absolutely stole it with about I felt like 20 or 30 laps to go. And it seems to be his motive to see if he can get it done here again tonight. That Purple 97 machine always looks pretty stout, though.
I like the jazzy color wave on the side of it. It's a very sharp color look.
See the leaders
these
working
guys
their
have
way
the,
through lap traffic.
Both these guys have the same amount of laps on their tires, but Kazi has gotten through the lap traffic, he's gotten through some of the lap traffic, and some of the other lap traffic has gotten through Schaefer over the course of the last lap. That has kind of hurt Schaefer. He ended up being stuck behind a good couple of them, letting Kazi get away ever so slightly. But now a couple of those cars on the newer tires, like Caleb Mitchell and Chad Kibbe, starting to go back by Joseph Kazi now, maybe costing him a little bit of time, but he'll have the draft from him down the back straightaway. That can kind of mitigate that. Schaefer losing ground ever so slightly, gonna have to get that back.
And these guys too, also at that point in the run too, where dirty air being transferred on the front of these cars really causes a big difference. And makes it a lot more difficult. You know, they finally got the heat in the tires. You see Kazi struggling with it a little bit here as Schaefer closes the gap a little bit coming into turn 3, but not able to get the leaps and bounds that he needs to get to the back of the 88 machine. Kazi going to lead to complete lap 110.
Great race from Charles Van Schack so far, and Greg Souza and Mark Sanchez. All these guys running 3rd, 4th, 5th. I mean, what a job that they've done to keep themselves in this thing all night long. We mentioned them being involved in incidents earlier. Maybe not Souza, but regardless, all these guys have just done a great job getting themselves up into the top 5 whenever it matters most. They have a good gap over Schur Jr. as well in that 6th place spot, so I got to think that your top 5, they may interchange and they might change some positions, but unless we get a caution flag, I think your top 5 is settled at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really think on any instance that either one of those 3 got into tonight. Van Schaik, pretty clean race. Souza, you know, we haven't seen him really throw a fender the wrong way all night. And Sanchez just been quietly lurking in that top 10 to top 15 range, working himself up here into the top 5 now, and really good run for that number 29 machine. And right behind him, another huge recovery, Ed Scherer Jr. into the 6th position after just about murdering that car earlier on in the race. Pretty good, strong recovery out of him, and the strategy falling in his lap here to get a good finish tonight for Michigan.
I still don't understand how they fixed those booty cheeks on the front end of that car. I mean, I guess they gave him some Ozempic during the pit stop or something. I don't know exactly what happened, but man, they were able to fix up that race car.
Yeah, he did have a problem with a cleft chin there, didn't he?
Not anymore. Nice and smooth.
Wonders of modern plastic surgery.
I can't wait to talk to him after this race and ask him how the surgery went. Hey, Reese Schaefer starting to catch Kazi. That thing's down to 0.2 of a second coming out of turn number 4. I mean, he's firmly within the draft now, coming down the front straightaway, coming to 7 laps to go.
That's a challenging position. He can shoot from there.
What he's going to have to do is he's going to have to find a way to get to the outside. Oh, you can't see anything from there. Oh, my Lord. What he's really got to do is try to find himself a way to get to the outside of the right rear quarter panel of Kazi. Build momentum down the straightaway and just get in there and dive it a little bit to try and keep Kazi pinched down, because I just don't think it's going to be easy to get down to the bottom of the track and make a move happen. Not at this point on the tires, not here at Michigan, because that momentum, we just know how much it carries. And once you get down that flat, it seems to be a struggle.
Coming out of turn number 4, 6 laps to go. Schaefer ever so slightly closer. 0.03 of a second was in it that lap time, or that time by, excuse me. 6 laps to go. Can Schaefer close that little bit of a gap and then actually make a move on the number 88 with no help? There's nobody in sight. Not behind Reese Schaefer, not in front of Joseph Kazi, at least not for a while in front of Joseph Kazi. So it might just be a mano-a-mano battle with no extra variables coming into this thing as we come to 5 laps to go.
It's like
Duel
Duel
of
of
the
the
Fates
Fates starts playing.
I'll tell you right now, though, he has the biggest benefit that he could possibly have. He has a slipstream coming off of the 88 machine. Doesn't look like he's helping him a whole lot, but it's helping him a little bit. And that little bit's going to, get that little bit of return is going to get bigger and bigger each lap as he starts to close up to the rear deck lid of the 88 machine. Right now, they're still pretty gridlocked even, though, as you see Kazi try to walk it up the track now to try and find a little bit more momentum down this back straightaway. But the battle is still on here between Kazi and Schaefer.
These two are going to be duking it out across the finish line at this point. It's basically a guarantee, but watching this, I'm trying to see the moment when Reese Schaefer turns in and tries to get in that draft, but it looks like he's too far away, maybe, or maybe he's just got a little bit of it. Is he too far away to really benefit from that draft?
No,
he really he's tucked in there.
He can definitely benefit, but he's not letting himself benefit. I'm kind of confused why he's not running right in his tire tracks down the front straightaway. I mean, he's kind of costing himself some time, but this time off a 2. What a run from Reese Schaefer, and now firmly in the draft down the back straightaway. It's closed down to under a 10th.
Schaefer with a huge charge into turn number 3 to get to the back bumper. The 88 machine of Kazi coming to the line to take 3 laps to go here out of the turn number 4. just not able to get the momentum that he needs out of turn 4, though. And yeah, still just tapering off, not getting the draft off of Kazi on the front straightaways. You see Kazi diving underneath the white line at the start-finish line. Kazi gonna lead him down to turn number 1.
Reese running a little bit lower, but he follows him up to the top side of the racetrack this time. Trying not to wash out on exit. Now down the back straightaway, firmly in the draft. Only 1.5 tenths in it, and that thing is coming down the back again. Can Reese Schaefer get close enough to make a move? 2.5 laps to go as we funnel down to turn 3.
Oh yeah, Reese is absolutely cooking a huge run down the back straightaway, but you see the dirty air really playing games with him on the entry to turn number 3. Not able to get the momentum that he needs there. Still going to run tapered off of the back bumper, the 88 machine coming down the front straightaway. 2 laps left on the board, though. Kazi going to leave him into turn number 1.
Thought that transition route Kazi of a little bit of speed there. You can see now he's still, unfortunately, about 1/10 of a second off him. There's a car ahead. I don't think that traffic is going to come into play with only a lap and a half to go here. So we'll see what happens, but Reese Schaefer has got his chance as he is still within shooting distance before the finish line of Joseph
Kazi's a little sideways. Kazi's a little sideways, losing the right rear. That might give Reese a run down the front straightaway, coming to the white flag. Reese is firmly there, and this time he takes the slipstream down the front as the white flag is flying here from Michigan. 1 lap to go, 2 miles left for these two contenders. It's been neck and neck for the last 30 laps between the two, and Reese is coming. He's flying on the outside out of turn number 2. Kazi throws the block out of the corner, and Reese goes over-under down to the inside, goes to number 97, and they're side by side down the back straightaway. Reese Schaefer, Joseph Kazi going at it for the race lead down to turn 3. Schaefer drives it in deep, gets almost to the door of Kazi. What can he do down on the bottom of 3? Oh, out of the corner, he gives him the hip check. Bumper banging, coming out of the corner. Door to door, the 97, the 88. It's going to be Joseph Kazi at the line by just a bumper, 14 thousandths of a second.
Oh, man. That's from I say it every time, man. Have you ever? Holy crap.
I was just gonna say, we're so nice to each other.
What a finish, man.
I thought there would be more bumping at the end there. They really felt like they were running across the finish line just shoulder to shoulder instead of fist to fist, fist to face. But wow, what a run. I was holding my breath that whole time that you were calling that.
I almost felt like I was watching Ford versus Ferrari, like they meant to do it. I mean, they were almost too nice to each other. I'm surprised Reese didn't try to run him up the racetrack a little bit more. Kazi instead took the advantage of running Reese down, and just Reese couldn't get any bit of a run with them making contact, couldn't actually get disconnected. And at the line, as they come through, Kazi by 14 thousandths of a second. You could see Reese was just about at that front wheel well as they came across the start-finish line, and Kazi's going to win yet another one here in the Spartan Master Series.
And you got to wind it back, too, though, about a half a lap from where he wound it back. That whole move was generated just by the fact that Kazi could not get the power down coming out turn number 2. You see him wheel spin a little bit on corner exit, wash up the track a little bit, and open the door for Schaefer. And an incredible job by Kazi to be able to keep it up on that outside lane and keep the momentum down to be able to fend off a hard-charging Schaefer at the start-finish line.
Wasn't any of this one from the Spartan Master Series. Like I said earlier, it was a little bit of a slow burner, but we still got that good finish that we were hoping for at the end of it. We're going to go ahead and go through our full field results here from the Michigan International Speedway. Joseph Kazi, your race winner here on our little chart. It says 16 thousandths of a second. iRacing was telling me 14 earlier. Either way, somewhere in that range. Charles Van Schack in 3rd, Jeffrey Souza 4th, Mark Sanchez 5th, Edward Shore Jr. in 6th, Kyle Gerlach 7th, Sammy Harrell in 8th, Dave Fuge Jr. in 9th, and Christoph Hall rounds out the top 10.
11th place, you got Scott Schroeder, followed by Justin Levine in 12th. 13th is going to go to Johan Seminario. Those two probably felt like they got robbed by the strategy, but 14th is going to go to Chad Ginningsman, followed by PB Henry in 15th. 16th is going to be Evan Ethel with Jake Hickson in 17th. 18th is going to be Tom Ringer, and rounding out your top 20 is going to be Art Nicotera and Lou Christian.
Moving into the 21st position, it is Kevin Zosiak, 22nd, Chad Kibbe, 23rd, Kalen Mitchell, 24th, Corey Adkins, 25th, Corey Saucier, 26th, Chuck Burley, 27th, Charles Aber, 28th, William Lark, 29th, David Salter, and 30th, Chris Vincent.
Jose Medina, Todd Parent, Drew Prohl, Chris Hudson, Kyle Westwood, Jordan Sailors, and Colton Gardner round out the 37 car field here tonight And now we're going to go ahead and jump into our post-race interviews. We're going to go ahead and interview our third place finisher up first. Let's say we hand over Charles Van Schack to Sheldon Atkins here up in the booth.
Well, Charles, honestly, I mentioned it a couple times during the race. A very quiet event for you tonight in a race that seemed like it was filled with attrition for about half of the field. How did you just make it through this whole thing and manage to keep your nose clean and get a good finish out of the deal?
Honestly, after the first couple, I mean, it seemed like every single of the incidents or the net code was right in front of me. So I stayed in fifth the whole time. I didn't do any shifting. I just figured, you know, especially when that last caution happened, it fell right in line. I was able to do about 31 laps. I probably pitted 1 or 2 laps too late to be any contention to be up, get a better finish. But yeah, just the one wreck I got through and got a Phantom 4X, and I went down and pitted, and then I just started the fuel strategy, because once I pitted and went to the back, it was it's very hard to pass here if you're not ripping the top, and if people are protecting the top, you're just following the leader for the most part.
Well, a good run for you nonetheless. How's this go for the confidence levels leading into the rest of the season here?
So I've been surprised. Well, up until the last couple races, I think I had a speeding penalty, and then my Dre app or something, my sim racing app didn't put fuel in the car one time, you know. So last couple weeks I've kind of shot myself in the foot. I've been pretty consistently up there for the most part, not podiums, but top 10s, top 12s. So I mean, it was just nice to put the last 2 or 3 races where I just, like I said, shot myself in the foot behind me, and be able to run up here with some of the big guys, and you know, Jeff for helping me out there at the end. I mean, he probably could have passed me, but he was pushing me pretty good. He was saving gas. I had 2 laps left, so kind of saved a little too much there.
Well, it is better to save a little too much than just too little. But after a strong performance tonight, third place, bringing it home, who all do you want to thank for this performance, or shout out?
I mean, you guys for the broadcast, admins for the league. This is a awesome league. Johan, I think, stepping up and doing a paint or something for the league, so it's pretty cool. A lot of clean racers in here to all the drivers, and then to PB Henry and the Henry boys, Kevin, David, to the Goat Racing guys, Christoph, who just joined tonight, and Sammy. If I'm missing anyone, because the team has grown, I apologize. But yeah, it's nice to be in an open setup. PB and Jeff do a lot of work. Dave does a lot of testing. I just haven't been able to do much. I feel like the weak link there, because I've been working 3 months straight, no days off. So, but yeah, just to the league, to you guys, to admins, and to my team.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to come up here and talk with us this evening. After 120 laps here in the Irish Hills, I will be handing it over to Joe LaCastro with second place, Reese Schaefer.
Where we were. All right, Reese Schaefer, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Got you guys.
All right. Hey, congratulations on your second place tonight. Good job. And what a race for you. You were up there in the front for a lot of this race. You started in 8th, you moved up into second. But I think you had one of the tougher jobs of trying to chase down Joseph Causey. As the race got toward the end of the race, can you tell us what was going through your head as you were trying to chase him down there, especially towards the end?
Yeah, it was what a really fun race. I've raced with Causey such a long time, and it was really fun chasing him down at the end. So fuel wise, we were definitely really close, both me and him. I mean, that's why he couldn't do burnouts at the end there, because he was out of fuel, and I only have 0.1 left in the tank right now. But so I knew I had to time it up, because we were running 5th gear the whole time, kind of in save mode, both the last run and this run, and so I knew I had to time up. Like, probably the last lap was the only chance I had, put in 4th and try it. So gave my all 1 and 2, got alongside him, and then we kind of just got stuck together coming to the start finish line through 3 and 4 and stuff. And yeah, timed it perfectly. Just didn't have enough. When it was is what it is. But yeah, it was super fun race for both. Honestly, for both me and him, it worked out great, because we both got wrecked. I was spun around in lap 40, and then Causey also got him 1. I think it was around like 50 or 60. So really good comeback, and lucked out hard in the strategy, and yeah, it was a fun race.
Yeah, coming back from a wreck was the name of the game for a couple of you guys here tonight. That wreck was something that I did when it happened. What were your thoughts there?
Yeah, when PB got into me, I know what he was doing because I think he was expecting me to go up a little bit higher to the wall, and I didn't, and so I just got into my rear corner, and I don't know why it was all night long. Turn 4 was just so tight, just like if you got near somebody or behind somebody, it would not turn at all. So he just got me, and we spun around, and luckily, I mean, I bounced off him and then Ed, and then when I spun back around, I looked to my right, and there's the start of the pit road wall, and I was like, oh my god, am I gonna hit it? And then they got it. I spun by and missed it, and it was only 45, 50 seconds of damage, so got repaired, and yeah, I was able to get back out there, and here we are, P2. It was awesome.
Really great drive, and good luck on the races coming up. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out to or thank for tonight?
Yeah, like the OneSim guys are always supporting me. Super good friends, and love racing with those guys. Like to thank you guys broadcasting. I got my dad watching, got my girlfriend watching, got people that support me all the time and love watching me race, and I love doing it. So just so thankful to be doing this, and I appreciate what you guys do, and appreciate having me on tonight.
Oh, it was our pleasure. You take care.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Alrighty, that was our second place finisher, Reese Schaefer. Next up, we're going to pull up the race winner who won it by 15 of thousandths of a second, officially, Joseph Kazi. You've won a couple races this year. That was the closest. What were you thinking those closing laps as Reese was closing you down?
It was all safe. Try to make sure I had enough to get the battle when he decided to make his move. We stayed. I came up with the strategy on the fly when we got sent to the back and I got wrecked. Me and Reese came in on that last caution, and I was like, if we filled up, and it was so close to making it or just one stopping. I was like, I told Reese, if we just ride in 5th gear, we could probably make it on just a one stop. So we did that, and it worked out. It absolutely worked out. And man, I like on the last bit after we took the green flag pit stop, it was just saving 5th gear. I clutched a couple times, and then got ready for the battle on the last lap, and that's when I threw it back and forth, and we with the battle.
Yeah, coming down the back straightaway, I was thinking there's going to be a lot of contact, and there was a little contact. I was kind of surprised that y'all kept it so clean. Were you surprised Reese didn't run you any further up the racetrack out of 4? I know there's a little bit of door contact out of the corner, but not a whole lot. And then down the front straightaway, you kind of drove him down, but it stayed relatively clean. And I know y'all are teammates, but I really thought it was going to get a little hairier there. Were you surprised that there wasn't any more contact than there was?
Not really. Reese is a very clean driver. He don't like to race that way. That's just just by knowing Reese and the way he drives, he tries to drive as clean as probably anybody on here, and sometimes it bites him, but it worked out for me this time. Thank you, Reese, for racing me clean. I try to race him as much as I can. We usually race each other with big time respect, and I was glad it worked out. This makes up for the Auto Club mishap that we got that caution on coming up to the last lap, so that definitely helped boost my confidence up a little bit more.
Could have won both 2 miles, but you'll settle for 1. I can understand that one, and only by 15 thousandths of a second. So it was a heck of a finish between you two teammates. Joseph, is there anyone that you have to thank or shout out at the end of this one?
Hey, thank everybody at OneSim, Johan, Justin, and Reese and Ed, all of us. We usually get together. We run magnificent races with each other. We usually go no holds barred with each other. And also thank our new team, Keegan Sevilla Esports, providing the setup for us through Ryko. Appreciate them. And thank the broadcast for putting on the show and everybody else that showed up.
Well, Joseph, we appreciate you for the kind words, and congratulations once again on your race victory here tonight for Michigan.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Alrighty, that was your race winner, Joseph Kazi, here tonight, driver of the number 88 Snickers machine, even though it's not really Snickers. He's got something else on the front of that thing.
It's a grid vision machine. It's a grid vision, man.
I should know that. I should probably know that. That would make sense.
Grid vision, a Bruzy racewear.
We're going to cut that out and post-edit. Either way. Final thoughts, Sheldon. Final thoughts.
Dude, man, I tell you what, I'm glad I happened to accidentally fall into the booth tonight, because this was an absolute blast to cover. It's always great to sit up here in the booth with all 3 of y'all, and what an incredible finish and great recovery from Joseph Kazi, as well as Schaefer. Just amazing event tonight. SSRL never fails to put out great racing.
Joe, anything to add?
I'm just going to add that it was great to be up here sitting with two great commentators and one great tech director. I got to soak up so much information tonight. You guys, your experience of the track and watching these guys tear it up was so much fun. So I was just proud to be here. You know, it was a good time, and I'm looking forward to more racing from SSRL.
I appreciated being here with both of you guys as well as Austin Derbyshire, who was sitting behind the production booth here tonight. And that is going to do it here from us, from the Michigan International Speedway, and from the entire Grid Vision team. We'd like to thank you for watching and participating in the chat. For more information on getting your league broadcasted or starting your career in broadcasting, contact us on Facebook, X, or email us at info@gridvision.live. Congratulations to Joseph Kazi on winning tonight's race from the Michigan International Speedway. This has been Austin Edstrom, standing alongside Sheldon Adkins, Joe LaCastro, and Austin Derbyshire. We will see you next time on the grid.